Morning. I'd like to call the Maysville Board of Commissioners Friday, June the 6th to order. We will begin with the invocation. Chief Palmer.
Bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we come here today to, first off, thank you for another beautiful day. Keep the rain at a minimum today. That would be great. But we come here to talk about some good topics, and please give us the wisdom and guidance to make good decisions on our topics. Be with us as we go about our day and protect us and watch over our community. These things we ask in your name, dear Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Chief Palmer.
Yes, ma'am.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cartmel?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood?
Here.
Commissioner McKay?
Here.
Mayor Cottrell?
Yes, ma'am.
City Manager Wallingford?
Here.
City Attorney Cottle?
Here.
HR Director Rose? Project Coordinator Horde?
Here.
Public Works Director King?
Here.
Police Chief Palmer?
Here.
Fire Chief Carpenter?
Here.
Utility Manager Spence?
Here.
Zoning Administrator Larger?
Here.
Building Inspector Fawcett? Codes Officer Brooks? Tourism Director Bailey?
Here.
Main Street Director Reese?
Here. Thank you. Ordinance amending Code of Ordinances, Chapter 71.175, Controller, first reading, 25-04.
An ordinance amending section 70.175, appointment and qualifications comptroller. Summary, this ordinance amends the City of Maysville Code of Ordinances, section 70.175, appointment and qualifications of comptroller to delete language that makes the comptroller an administrative assistant to the city manager and treasurer and finance administrator of the Maysville Utility Commission. It further adds language that allows for someone that is a high school graduate with a minimum of 10 years experience in government accounting and or finance to serve as comptroller.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer?
Yes.
Commissioner Cartmel?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes.
Mayor Cottrell?
No. Budget workshop, Matt.
Yes, ma'am. If you guys don't mind, let's look at some of our nonprofit and donation requests. If you'll go to tab 7 in your book, please. Buffalo Trace Children's Advocacy Center, the Youth Center, CASA, Camp Discovery, those are all the same amounts as the previous 2 years.
Can you share?
You all want to keep those as they are.
Should-
And those,
Should that be-
those come out of the Ian Foster Fund.
And that should be proposed 26 instead of 25.
They're just a missing column. That's all it is. There's a
Okay.
missing column, but it's the same. I'm
Okay.
sorry. It
That's
is
all
the
right.
same for FY '26.
Have we seen how is the Iron Foster Fund?
I knew you'd ask me that, and I left that budget up in my office. It's fine. The interest will pay for what we have. I just don't have a specific amount there.
Okay, all right.
Well, they usually have enough money in their account.
Yeah, we can
We
use
just-
the interest
we
on
just-
the,
yeah,
yeah,
we just
yeah,
spend the
yeah,
interest.
yeah, we're okay there. Are you guys, is everybody good with those amounts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm just gonna put a check mark. Now, if you go to the next tab, tab 8. Let's see. Buffalo Trace Firefighters Association, we had that in there, $5,000. You've already got that, right? So we can take that out. Okay, so you guys see that, it's like the third one down.
Mhm.
You can X that one. Chamber dues, the same. Arts Commission, the same. RSVP is the same. Fleming Mason Airport. YMCA, Boys and Girls Club, Wall Park. Miracle League. I'm trying to think if we did that one. Can't remember if we did that one last year or not.
We did.
We did, okay. Kentucky Changers is the same, Hands of Hope is the same, Veterans of Foreign Wars is the same, although, I don't know that they need it. In talking to, one of their members, I don't know if you know or not, that was for flags down at the cemetery, but I think Chris Healy said, I don't think they need it
Yeah,
You
they're
guys
in
need-
pretty good shape.
Yeah, but I'll double check with that.
Okay.
Now, there's two that aren't on here that, if you look at your, requests, okay, you got the Arts Commission, RSVP, YMCA, Wall Park, Miracle League, Nicole. Then you have one from Comprehend, which we've never had before. They don't have an amount in there, but they're writing to request grant funding from the city to help sustain and expand the essential behavioral health services we provide to our community, is what they're saying. There's no request amount, but they did send a letter.
But shouldn't we have a dollar figure?
I mean,
I don't
like Nicole Harris, she doesn't give us a dollar figure, it's just whatever, they'll take whatever
You get,
you give them, yes, ma'am. So, but we have never had that, request before.
Well, we're using them more, aren't we?
Well, no, not necessarily, because we do have a social worker now, so that takes a lot of the,
Okay, I thought she worked with them.
She does,
She does.
but we're not relying on them as much now. You speak to
We
that.
have to use them for evaluations for placement as far as 202A investigations
Oh,
and stuff
okay.
like that. So, I mean, that's always been the same.
All right.
But yes, she works with them. Chris Conley was just up there Wednesday with an individual. So, yeah, we use it all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, you go ahead.
All right, thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, you're out of here, sorry, I'm good.
thank you.
Go
Thank
shine
you.
your golf club then.
All right.
So what are you saying? Nothing?
I don't know, I mean, that's a
Yeah.
decision for you all to make, and, you know, I don't know.
Well,
My
it's a-
opinion would be the fact that we're investing in our own social worker at this point, that helps us.
Yeah.
But now they're doing everything, they're doing things for the entire community,
Yeah,
so
but
don't take that the wrong way.
They still have to do the
Yes.
evaluations for us for a 202A transport
Right.
that is done by the sheriff.
Yes.
They have to do that.
Yes.
So that's a.
And I'm thankful that, I think we're all thankful that we have an
Well, I'm
organization
not
like that
against
here.
it,
Oh,
I was
yeah.
just asking what your thoughts were for what you give.
I can tell you, recently in a couple different places, I found that 18% of our population in Mason County has disabilities of some type. And that's a huge percentage of our population. And so, you know, that's what I feel about the Miracle League. It's gonna serve a
Yeah.
lot of population. And
Gang, it's whatever you think. Let's see here. 70-40.
Well, I mean, I think they do at least what Hands of Hope does. I think it's important that we have professional, you know, and not only that, but they've got a clinic up there now.
I'm okay with giving them money, but I'm not okay with expanding that budget. You know, I'm not a big fan of us taking money from other people and then giving it to others. I think if people in Maysville want to give money to whichever charity we've got on here, they can. But in terms of us deciding who's worthy of the public's money, I don't think we ought to be doing it. So if we want to take, you know, shave some off the other ones to give to Comprehend, that's fine with me, but I don't want to expand that budget.
Now, I will tell you that, you know, obviously that 77 that's in there is reduced by 5 now, so it's down to 72. I will tell you, last year, it was 77,100 well, not last year, this current year, fiscal year, 77,100. So now it's down to 72,1 because the Firefighters Association, we gave them money last year for the conference. Yeah.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Andrew, would you be opposed to taking that money that was budgeted for firefighters
And given
and
to,
shuffling that to Comprehend
Yeah, I guess
this
so.
time?
yeah,
I guess so.
I am too.
Okay,
That
and
doesn't expand, that way, it doesn't expand, it addresses your concern.
Okay.
And now, keep in mind, there's a second request, and I don't know if Chief may know a little bit more about this one. Rotary is doing a drive, and they wanna get AEDs in every police cruiser and sheriff and deputy's vehicle. They're raising money to do that. Have you heard much on that one?
Yeah, I know they are. I know they've asked the VFW, Kyle, Chief Carpenter knows about it as well. I don't know where they're at on that.
Okay, yeah, and I don't either. They say each AED costs approximately $1,500. Batteries and pads bring the total cost about $1,800. Our goal is to raise $55,000 for 30 AEDs to fill this need.
I don't know, if Major Collins.
Last I knew, I think they were purchasing 16 to start with, so they.
Yeah.
they've had
So they got they got past the halfway point.
I believe so, I don't want to misspeak.
But wouldn't they need more than 30? I mean, you all have what, 26?
Yeah, but the way, and again, Major Collins remembered, but I think the way that it was initially presented to the Rotary to get them bought up into it was supervisor vehicles. That way
I
you
got
have
you.
one per shift.
Okay,
And then, maybe one or two per sheriff. I don't know.
okay.
But
I
I
think the
don't
goal
know.
is to give everyone
But I
one.
think eventually the goal, yes, would be, but I think starting out is what, supervisors or something like that, Chris?
Yeah, we put a kind of a minute, there was some talk back and forth, and really, Bernard and Audrey and several others did a lot more on it than what I have. So I don't want to misspeak, but I think initially the goal was just get us so many, but I think they're going to shoot to get everyone covered on it.
Okay.
And to add on top of that, Max Von Drewsk, our EMS director, has been working with them. So the AEDs are getting, is all compatible with our equipment.
Yeah.
So the pads and stuff, if they throw pads on somebody, we can hook them straight to our monitor, and we can give them our new set of pads. And so we're not being wasteful, and that it's an investment to our community, and that everybody will, the equipment is all interchangeable. So, it's kind of.
Well, there had to be a reason they've gone up, because I gave one to the senior center out there, and it was only $1,200. But it's probably not compatible with your stuff.
Yeah, and so once the initial cost of all the pads and everything, they would be able to, we can exchange out pads and, keep the cost, the maintenance.
Yes.
So,
Could we take the 1,000 from the VFW and earmark it for that?
Sure.
Still not, and still keep that at 77,000.
Well, yeah, it might. Sorry, Vic. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, when is their fundraising?
It's ongoing.
Yeah, it's ongoing. And
Ongoing,
Yeah.
okay.
yeah, and Chris,
So when
it is ongoing. I mean, they're just going to keep going until they get that 55 maybe.
Yeah, as far as I know.
So as they have funds, are they gonna go on and buy them and then put them in the cars, and then they're just keeping this going to?
Yeah, Chief might be able to speak on this. I think they ordered 16, but I think Max had changed like his representative or something, so there was a little bit going on there. But as far as I know, it's ongoing until they meet the need of it.
What I would recommend to you, I know you got the 1,000. I'd recommend 1,800 because that gets you at least one. That would be my recommendation.
I'm good with that.
That's fine, yeah.
I'm good with that.
Okay. So let me make some notes here real quick. Okay, so cross that, comp,
It's gonna take that up to 77.
road.
I say we take it out.
Okay, all right. Now, if you don't mind, go all the way back to tab 1. And that's where you have the budget overview. I'm gonna give you an updated sheet that you can just slide into your book. David, would you pass one of those to Andrew, please?
So we left it at 1,800 for Rotary and.
5,000 for comprehend, yes, ma'am. Okay, so looking at that sheet I just gave you, I've been working with every department head for the past month to take a very close look at their budget. In the original sheet, we were at a $12,300,000 roughly deficit. We've whittled that down to 10.5 million. Now, I will say $1 million of that is a fire engine, and that's because Chief Carpenter tells me that is not going to be available until August of '26. So we're kind of just pushing that one down the road, so that will impact the FY '27 budget. And I highlighted in the green areas that have decreased. Now, again, you know, if it were to be 10.5, roughly 4 of that is the Maysville water line. $1 million is fiber optic contract, so that takes you down to 5.5. You know, we have some grants in there that I don't think will, the TAP grant maybe, the flat grant will not hit, I don't think in this fiscal year, do you? But TAP is very, very likely, so, you know, you could almost take off another $1.5 million there, which takes you down to 4. And again, that's, you know, that's, even the 10.5 is worst case scenario. It won't be 10.5. Yeah, I mean, I can guarantee that. It will not be 10.5. But I just wanted to show you that we have tried to whittle that down. We've looked at everything closely. You know, David and I found a duplicative entry yesterday. It was, what, $400,000? So we took that off. So we're trying to get that down. Now, with that in there, if you look at the second page, and this is in there, so that would impact it if it changes. There's included a flat 4% pay increase for employees. The only thing that I have left to really take a close look at, and I've got to sit down with Darren and Jeff, is the utility department's budget. As of the original writing for the summary, we were looking at a transfer of a little over $2 million to the utility department to balance their budget for capital projects. I've got to sit down with Jeff and Darren. I have a feeling that's probably going to double. That's probably going to double as a transfer to the utility department, just because of, depending on what you all approve, obviously. But you know, you look at the line, let's see, guys, the line from the redundancy line for that was what, 3? Is that right, Jeff? You got yours there?
Yeah,
That was $3 million itself.
That's probably high side.
And then the sewer line over behind Mason County High School and all that, what was that one?
$720,000.
Okay. So
How
I think
much?
that's, I'm sorry, David.
How much was that one?
720.
And I did hear from George yesterday, there's pretty good chance of another small development going in that area that would hook onto that line. Is that right, guys?
What area?
In that area of Walmart over in there, yeah.
So we'll just charge them a $700,000 tap-on fee and pay for it, right?
Well, you know, that would be okay. That would be okay.
Is that on the record? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. So, you know, in the end, I'm gonna recommend at least those 2 projects, because I think those are the 2 most important utility projects we have.
You mean the Maysville and?
It's already in there. Mayslick's already in there.
I know about his saying.
Yeah, the distribution line that goes from over here, that if it goes down, it kills all of downtown.
Right.
And then affects everybody else. But they're looking at a redundancy line to go up to the reservoir. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then that sewer line out there along the AA and at 68 and all that, it can't handle the flow.
Right.
Because of all the development. So,
Nothing in here addresses the Helena issue, that line.
no, not yet. No, we haven't gotten, I mean, I would say, Vic, just as today's prices, I would guess what, probably the same as going out to Maysville. It's about the same length, so you're probably looking at $4.5 million for that one. It's not to say we can't, but I think we have to be very cautious that we're looking at about a $15.5 million reserve. You know, for giggles, if we used everything in this proposed deficit at $10.5 million, we're down to 5 in reserves.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna have to take a very, very close look at our water rates. I know nobody wants to do that, but I think we're gonna have to, we have to. Now, if we were gonna borrow money to do these projects, they would require us to raise our rates to pay for the loan. You know, we still have 3 CSO loans we're paying on. Thank the Lord for the $25 million to finish that project. That's a huge deal because we don't have to borrow that money. But I've got once I sit down, and we're gonna do that, like in the next week, we'll be doing that. To get a better idea on what that transfer is from the general fund to the utility fund to cover those capital projects, and obviously that's gonna affect the general fund budget, so that 10.5 is probably gonna go back up to 12.5, would be my guess. Again, worst case scenario. But what we also have to do, and I wanna schedule something with you all no later than the regular meeting on Thursday, but we've got to sit down and go through all of the capital requests with everybody in here and determine what's in, what's out.
Right.
Because I've got to be able to draft that budget, and so we can get 2 readings in before the end of the year. And we can determine if we want to do another special meeting, or if we want to do that, at the end of the regular meeting on Thursday, which is fine. And I've also given you a copy of the proposed pay scale. Everybody should have had a copy of that. I sat down with Rhonda, and there aren't a lot of changes between this one and last year's. We did add a few titles in the police department and in the water and in the utility department. But other than that, that's most of the ranges are the same as they were last year. We looked at everybody, and we just utilized, if somebody was to get a 4%, where would they be? And everybody still falls equally within the range.
Matt, just for a second, going
Yeah.
back to that water again.
Yeah.
If there is like a mega project, like out in western Mason, Mason County,
Right.
that's in our service area.
It just depends on where it's at, because you got Western Mason Water District out there that goes all the way over to around Big Pond Pike. And you can't encroach on someone's service area unless you have an agreement with that service provider. It's not like eminent domain, you can go take their customers. You can't, we can't do that. They have the right to their customers. No, I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to see something come along that says, hey,
Well, we would need a new water plant.
oh, and we still do, irregardless, we need a new water plant. And
Yeah.
again, we'll be approaching, the Senator West probably in August, because we've got the preliminary engineering report, since it's a budget year coming up next January, to propose that to him to see if we can get state funding we have to have a water plant anyway, regardless of if there's any development or not. We have to have a new water plant. There's no getting around it. Yeah.
Okay.
But again, yeah, with that pay scale, there wasn't many changes. And if you want to see, if you still have last year's, if you don't, I'd be happy to give you a copy of that. Not a lot of changes there. It's pretty darn close to being the same. Because we will have to adopt that when we do the budget as well. That would be a separate ordinance. We're required to do that. Good news, obviously, is that retirement contributions are going down. They're going to continue to go down. It may be ever so slightly, but that's always a plus. You can see the decreases there in that third bullet on the second page. Anybody in here, do y'all have anything that you want to add, or anything that has changed since you maybe met with the commission, or anything like that?
I'll go with that.
Yeah, go ahead, Chief.
On my truck, I called the person who ordered the truck off, and it said it was gonna be ready till August to September. And when I turned in my budget, I showed what I was gonna kinda ask for the next year. I was wondering if I could go ahead and order an ambulance. If we order a new ambulance today, it takes 31 months to get it. So we're, looking at that 2 to 3 year mark to get a new ambulance.
But you would pay for it upon receipt?
Yes.
Okay.
The only asterisk to that is we called the manufacturers that we've been going with.
Yeah.
That's been getting the highest bid here recently. They do have some demos coming down the pipe. They've got 5 that could be ready in November and December.
Of this year?
And, And
What are they running?
they're running out, being outfitted or anything just out the door, we still have to wrap it and everything, but $304,358.
104?
Three.
304.
And a new one, chief, that's not a demo is about $450.
Yeah, about 400, 450, something like that. So, yeah, they're getting high.
Now, chief, when you and I looked at your budget, if I recall, we left in, let me get back to you, the fire expenses. When we looked at yours, police, fire, down in your fire equipment budget, we left 450.
Yes.
Okay, in 23, you spent 48, fire spent 48, in 24, 170, and year-to-date this year, is 112. You feel like that would,
That 450.
that 450? What we did was, he had 1.4 million in that fire equipment line item. We took $1 million out for the fire engine. So I left 450 in there, which if you were able to get a demo, that would cover that.
But that's also my boat and my equipment that I need to order. That
Yeah, and the
450.
boat,
And,
the boat is, our match on the boat is 137, 270.
yeah, and then, the boat and also the, possible grant coverage.
For a building?
AFG.
AFG,
Yeah.
okay, which is
Radios.
80/20.
Yeah, which is
Do you know what our match would be on that?
it was, I don't know exactly, I'd have to look.
So if you look at 305 for a demo plus 137 for our match on the boat, that takes you to your 450 there.
Yeah, yeah.
So it would depend on what your radios would,
Yeah.
what the match is gonna be on the
And,
radios.
150,000, what was 150,000 for equipment, and the match on the radios, the match on the radios and the boat is that 450, it's covered, that's taken.
Yeah, but the ambulance wouldn't,
But you would have to add the 300, after outfit and everything, you're looking about 314,000 for the new ambulance.
wait a minute, go back. Your radios, the boat match.
Yeah, and then 150,000 for equipment, that was for the new engine. That
Oh,
we wanted to add together.
okay, I see, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was that.
So that
works
covers
out.
that 450,
Yeah.
I see, okay. So basically what he's saying is he would have he may have the opportunity to get a demo ambulance this fall for roughly $100,000 less than a new one, which might take 2.5 years to get. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't necessarily have to budget for that new ambulance right now, but you need to order it, knowing that in 2 years, we're gonna have to pay for it.
Yeah.
And in probably the FY '28 budget, we'd have to have the 400 or,
Yeah.
but if you went and ordered it now, would you lock in that price?
Yes,
Okay.
the only stipulation with the demo, because so the way it works, PennCare is the company that sells the Mears ambulance, kind of like McFarland sells Chevrolet, is the easiest way to explain it. These demos are actually a Chevrolet, the Mears demo. So for them to get credit for this demo and say it's ours, they have to have the payment up front.
Okay.
Because it's technically not PennCare's yet, so we would get it actually from the Mears factory. And so, they've got 5 of them that are set to be built. The fire and ambulance these demos are made to go across the country and show off. These demos aren't coming off the line because people are buying them before they show them off. It's basically what's happening. So all these companies are just cranking out demos because, there's no time or effort to design or whatever. They're kind of cookie cutter and you're able to save a little bit of money.
But
That's kind of-
are you losing anything between that and a brand new one? No loss
Because
there?
what we haven't designed ours anything special, we've kept them that basic design, so just because of cost and keep them, you can get as elaborate as you want, but we figured we'd rather save money and we'd rather spend money on the equipment, on the patient, not on the truck. So, that's kind of where we've been with that, so getting a demo and saving almost $100,000 seems like no brainer. And I did the mileage on our trucks right now. We've got 2 that's over 150,000 miles ambulances, and our 2 newest one's 3 years old and one's about 1.5 years old. The 3-year-old truck is right under 70,000 miles already. And the one that we got 1.5 years ago is right under 40,000. So, our run volumes went up, we're putting the miles on these
We're about
trucks.
4,500, 5,000 runs a year.
5,000 runs a year between fire and EMS, so
And,
about 4,000.
Just for comparison, how many runs does Paducah do a year?
Paducah, I don't know, I can tell you Burlington in northern Kentucky.
Yeah.
They do 3,000.
Yeah.
And we're doing 5,000.
I was thinking Paducah was about 2,500.
It's something like that, Paducah's like 4,000, so.
A city that's 2.5 times the size of.
Maysville.
So do you adjust your rates?
We are kind of set, we can charge as much as we want, but Medicare and Medicaid's only paying
True.
out so much. So I got a letter the other day, a run that we took to Lexington to transfer, we only got paid $133 for it, because it's only Medicaid. So that's kind of the problem with, and we had meetings with MetaView and, talking about the business side of it, trying to get stuff covered and all that, and EMS is the worst business model ever. It's a
Yeah,
public
when we talked
service.
with Kathy.
Yeah. It's like, the reimbursement rates on some of these runs or whatever is just non-existent, so. And I hate to use this analogy, but EMS is more of a public service anymore, not a business. It used to be a business. And anymore, it's more like police officer, you flirt with that, making money to being in the red. You're just hoping to break even anymore, so. And that's why we used to have 4 or 5 private ambulances around this area, and that's why we have, I would say, a half of a private service in this area now.
So what's your all's thoughts? Add another 3 in there for a demo, or have Chief go on and order a new one? My question to you would be, I think I asked you this when we were talking about the engine. Do you feel like you could get 30 months worth out of what you're using right now? Because nobody in here wants to compromise public safety.
Yeah. The highest, we got 164,000 on our highest mileage one at 153, and those are.
Are you having to do a lot of maintenance on those?
Yes.
Two? Okay, that's the thing.
I think it's time to get at least another one of these down the road and get a newer one. Or maybe if we had 3 newer ones, we can rotate and keep the mileage down, except running the 2 new ones the whole time and kind of have a rotation. And then by the time we get a new one in, the way we've been ordering them, if we get 3 decent ones in, when the 3 new ones, we've ordered the boxes where they can be remounted. So then we're just buying trucks to put underneath them. So if we get another new one lined up, so when that Dodge, which is our oldest, newest one, when it's ready to go down the road, it's not going down the road, we're just putting a new truck underneath it. And you're spending $150,000 on it.
I think you ought to expedite it. I think you ought to get the
demo?
demo, yeah.
Chief, if you commit or place the order, you can't, we're committed to that.
Yes.
There's no going back.
No going back, that demo, and like I said, that demo is way cheaper than if we ordered them.
But it still as efficient as
Yeah,
the
yeah,
new
it's the
130.
same.
That's
If
my
we
point.
order one, it's gonna be pretty much close to the same as that demo, because like I said, we're not doing anything.
So how many miles is on the demo?
It's brand new.
It's brand new?
It's brand new. It's not even been
it
made
hasn't
yet,
been
it's just on the line. These
Okay.
demos are not even coming off the line,
Okay.
they're just already getting sold before they're even getting shipped.
Okay.
So they basically send you the digital copy of it, the layout, and the past 2 we bought have been demos.
Okay.
So, the same exact demo.
The past 2?
Yeah, the past 2. You gotta catch demos before they're even made, it's a sad thing, so.
Any questions on what has been presented up to this point?
Is the new fire truck, has that been delayed, or is that gonna show up in time for the
It's gonna
gathering
be,
here?
it'll be,
You said August or September of 26, Andrew.
When is are we hosting like a
That's,
firefighters?
yeah, that's into July, first of August this year, it won't be here. So, but no, it's just, that's the world we live in fire and EMS world. Between just during COVID, getting supplies in, and now with tariffs and all this stuff, it's just, they push the price up and they push the time back. And it really, the market kind of flooded when all that ARPA money came in and people were upgrading their equipment and stuff, so they just.
So the charge is higher than what we originally agreed to pay him?
No, it's still about.
Still, yeah.
And that, we got lucky on there, some other people's prices did go up, ours did not. So.
Any other questions on this stuff that's been presented to you at this point? Now, let me ask one last, do you all want to look at any of the department budgets right now and make some decisions, or would you rather wait until say the regular meeting on Thursday. You all tell me what you prefer.
I'd rather wait.
Okay.
I would too, yeah.
Okay, so what I would ask of the five of you is please look at all of those closely. And if you don't have a copy of the request, let me know and I'll get you a copy. Please look at everything closely so that we can go through those on Thursday and start checking off or making an X.
Right.
Because again, all of those requests are already in here. So I'll need to know what we want to take off.
Or
So I
leave
can,
it.
yeah, so I can make changes to the budget and then, get everything prepared for a couple of readings. Anybody else want to add anything? No, you good?
Okay, thank you. Closed session pursuant to KRS 61.8101F, discussion which might lead to the appointment of an individual employee.
So moved.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer?
yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Cartwell?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes.
Mayor Cottrell?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Luke?
I'll entertain a motion to come back into session.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Brammer?
Yes?
Commissioner Cartwell?
Mm-hmm.
Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Commissioner McKay?
Yes.
Mayor Cottrell?
Yes, ma'am. Now I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
So,
Roll
James
call,
down there today?
please.
I
Commissioner
don't know if she's
Brammer?
down there today
Yes.
or not.
Commissioner Cartwell? Commissioner Wood?
Yes.
Yes,
Commissioner
yes, yes.
McKay?
Yes.
Mayor Cottrell?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all.